Hey everyone, welcome to this cozy coffee theme set up for March in my journal. We're going to start with the cover page where I've decided to do a bit of a collage with some coffee themed washi stickers, as well as more coffee themed washi stickers from the washi tape shop and some brown toned washi that I had in my stash. I love layering the elements because it gives the theme a bit of depth and as well as visual interest. My quote for March is, "What on earth could be more luxurious than a sofa, a book, and a cup of coffee?" And since for March it should hopefully finally start warming up where I live, a book, a sofa, and a cup of coffee might just be on my list of things to do in March. The font I used for March is called Fancy Flavour Font, if you wanted to find that on Fontspace and try it out for yourself. Since I'm done with the cover spread, I'm going to set up my content planner. I still have a calendar to accompany the content planner because I like to check what days I'm going to be posting my content with the calendar, and having them side by side feels like it's a little bit easier. And since it wouldn't be this cozy coffee theme without all of our elements, I'm just going to layer in some of the washi stickers, as well as the washi and the other washi stickers from the washi tape shop. For the font, I'm using my Ohuhu marker for the thinner parts of the font, and then the Karin decobrush in metallic rose gold for the thicker parts of the font. This just helped me achieve the look of the font without having to try too hard with the deco brush, because the deco brush's nib was a bit thicker, so the thinner spots of the font would have been really hard to do. I'm also doing a second line highlight in my content planner because I struggle to find where the lines are supposed to be for what it is I'm checking off. But with the second line highlight, it works out a little bit easier. I just used everybody's favorite N95 Tombow for that. My trackers for March are up next. I'm going to do a little bit of decoration before I realize that I really should do all of the functional parts of the spread first, because I need to erase all of my pencil markings. So I'll be using my Ohuhu 19, which I have used for all of my lines for this theme. I found that this particular shade complemented the bluey green color that was in the washi tape Caffeine Canvas Washi stickers that I was using. And then each of my mood spaces for this month, I've tried to make a latte art design, and I will be obviously coloring those in with various shades of brown throughout the month. My habit trackers, as usual, are the mini calendars, since I feel like those work best for me tracking my habits. They're a constant, they do not change unless I decide to do a vertical habit tracker, but I don't feel like I use those as well as the mini calendars. And then I'm going to set up my theme with the coffee washi stickers, as well as the brown washi, and then the stickers from the Caffeine Canvas Washi from the washi tape shop. Once I'm happy with that, I'll go through with the marker again and add in the thicker lines for the font. You'll notice throughout this setup that I will do the marker usually last because I have to do a lot of erasing for the pencil marks, and this is a metallic marker, and metallic markers do not like erasers. But I'm going to quickly set up my miscellaneous tracker threads. As usual, I did the Ohuhu marker first and then the metallic marker second, again so I could erase those pencil marks. So my media tracker is to track all the things that I watch in a month. These stats are some personal stats that I keep track of month to month, and then the notes section is miscellaneous monthly notes that I might need to add. I don't tend to use the notes section too much, which is why it's always so small. On to my meal tracker. Each of the day boxes is 4 dot grid spaces tall, but the date section is another 4 dot grid spaces, followed by 11 dot grid spaces and 11 dot grid spaces for each breakfast, lunch, dinner meal that will be added into this Dutch door spread. I usually utilize this as a Dutch door spread, so I only have to do one header for this spread. And then I just decorate accordingly because your theme is not a theme unless you have repeating elements. So the coffee washi tape stickers that I've ripped up into jagged pieces because I hate straight lines when it comes to accenting background stickers. And then the coffee canvas stickers, which I'm trying to pick through to find ones that I like for this. And with all of my monthly trackers set up, I'm going to be moving into weeklies. I'm repeating this floating squares weekly that I used in January in the square journal. I'm going to affectionately call it Squares on Squares. And then I'll go through and once again with the Ohuhu 19 do all of my lines, or my thin lines, and then I'll go through with the metallic deco brush later for all of the thicker lines. In between laying down the Ohuhu lines and the deco lines, I did erase all of the pencil lines because the deco brush, being metallic, does not like erasers. It causes the metallic to go a little weird. So I was mindful to be careful of that. Because the space around the floating boxes is a little thin, I had to get a tiny bit creative with some of the decoration on this spread. So some of it very barely covers the corners of the floating boxes. But I think it's okay because I don't generally use those corners. Followed by the brown washies and the Caffeine Canvas Washies from the washi tape shop. Again, because I have smaller spaces, I'm using some of the smaller stickers, and I'm just sifting through the ones that I have pre-cut out. The second weekly I am going to call Rows on Rows. So I've put rows in the middle of the pages and then left extra room for decoration on the sides. Each of the day boxes are 9 dot grid spaces tall and 17 dot grid spaces wide. I know it's a weird measurement, but with the square journal, you can kind of get away with some of these weirder measurements and it still have a balanced look to it. And then I just had to balance my decorations along with my day boxes. The checkered brown washi I was using was giving me a bit of a hard time. It's not the best washi, so it was kind of ripping in weird ways when I was trying to unroll it at some points. But I kind of just went with it because why not? It's not like I have very many straight edges with the decorations in this particular theme. but I've always made sure to layer the decorations so they have kind of an anchor. And this spread wouldn't be complete without the thicker lines done by the deco brush. I do love that it kind of makes the font suddenly appear. All of a sudden, you can read Saturday. The third weekly for March, I decided to go for thirds in the weekly layout. So each of my pages are divided into 6 sections, which in the end will give me 5 spaces for decoration and 7 spaces for planning. This spread might not be perfectly symmetrical. The first box is a 13 by 19, followed by 2 12s, I think, and then the top box is a 18 by 13 and then 2 12s. Once you have everything down, you can't really tell you're off by 1 dot grid space on most of them. But if you are somebody who enjoys symmetry, then I would suggest making each of these 18 dot grid spaces high with 1 remainder in the middle. That will give you perfectly symmetrical boxes. And then your third, you're going to have 1 remainder as well if you do 12, 12, and 12. To make things easier for myself, I disregarded those remainders, but if you are somebody who enjoys symmetry, that's how you would make that work. For the 4th weekly in March, I decided to do vertical daily boxes. These are each 9 dot grid boxes wide and as tall as the page, and I've artistically taken some space off of each of them to leave some room for decoration in a up and down manner. I don't usually like a vertical spread. I generally find there's not enough room, but in a square journal, if you are somebody who has bigger handwriting, you can try out a vertical spread and it will usually be fine. I don't find it too cramped and I have particularly large writing. But all of our elements need to be on the page, so I'm just going to decorate as I have been throughout this theme, making sure to anchor some of the bigger pieces with the decorations. And then the font starts to make sense once I add the deco brush thicker lines. The very last spread for March in my journal is going to be a multi-purpose spread. So because March has 31 days and my usual meal tracker only holds 28 days, I'm going to be adding some meal tracking along with the last 3 days of March. I like my months to stay together, if that makes sense. So all of the days of the month will be included in my themes. So when I don't have a full 7 days, I have to get creative with some of my spreads, and they end up being multi-purpose spreads because I usually need the meal tracking to go along with the days. It can be challenging at times, but I generally find it a good challenge for myself to try to make these multi-purpose spreads work for the month. Because the page where the day planning is divided into thirds, we once again have the 13, 12, and 12 situation. And again, the meal tracking is 4 dot grid spaces tall, and then a 4 dot grid spaces for the day, and then followed by 11 and 11 dot grid spaces for each of the meals. And with that touch, March is set up. Just a final flip through for anyone who wants to see what March fully looks like set up. I'm so looking forward to getting into this cozy coffee theme and hopefully the warmer weather that it should hopefully bring with it. Although March is probably going to be very rainy, which means lots of time being cozy on my couch with a good book and hopefully a good coffee. But thank you for watching this coffee cozy setup with me, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.